Hi there, this is Lonnie Riley, and this is a supplemental recording of the beginning half of the first team meeting we had for the Push for Change campaign of 2022. I want to go through a couple things, and the second half of the show or slideshow is still intact, so I'll make sure to edit that in at the end here, but wanted to ensure you got the beginning half and a little bit more about what the purpose of this mission is. So if we're jumping right into things, for this meeting, we're going to cover introductions about who I am and why I am passionate about this campaign. We're going to go give an overview of what LLS is and what the Man and Woman of the Year competition is. We will talk about the Boy and the Girl of the Year, our campaign's goal, as well as ways to fundraise and where do we get started and how can you get started in building this and growing up on top of it. Jumping right into an introduction, as I mentioned, my name is Lonnie Riley III. I come from Corunna, Michigan, a small town in the middle of Michigan. I am really passionate about public speaking as well as speaking in front of others. I am the president of the Club 404, which is Grand Rapids and Michigan's oldest club chapter, with 75 years being celebrated this past November. I am a huge Office fan. I watched it for close to a decade and continue to watch it. One of those comfort episodes or comfort shows, if you will. I really enjoy improv comedy. I'm involved in the comedy community in Grand Rapids specifically. Some hobbies that I enjoy are leather work as well as 3D printing. Different tasks and skills working with my hands and projects are what I enjoy. And lastly, I really enjoy the company of family and friends. Hence why everybody is on this call tonight, this evening, as well as that's how I spend a portion of my free time and how I navigate through life. So we want to go into a little bit about what LLS is. And the mission of LLS, if you're not aware, is the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And their goal or their mission they set out to accomplish is to curing all blood cancers. So leukemia, lymphoma, Hodgkin's disease, and myeloma, and to improve the life of the patients along the way. So they really provide a lot of resources and a lot of support in ensuring that patients are not alone in this journey, as well as families alone in this journey. They focus on the research that is finding these cutting edge treatments. And fortunately, with blood being the vehicle throughout the body, a lot of the advancements that they've discovered through this research have gone on to benefit very greatly other cancers and other treatments and expediting the treatments of those cancers. And lastly, LLS also accomplishes a lot of advocacy. So they're pushing to make the process easier. The problem that we have is that cancer treatments are still not where they need to be, and we should not be dealing with this in 2022, as well as supporting the families that go through this and ensuring that they get the actual coverage for these advanced treatments, because treatments are becoming, although more cutting edge, more and more financially burdensome to a family, and it can really be a damage and a hindrance upon a family to work through with a patient who has cancer, especially if we're dealing with pediatric oncology. Now, LLS has had a huge impact. They've led to a lot of the advancements and treatments that you see. I'll let you review these facts on your time and save you me reading through them. But this organization, I've done a lot of due diligence to ensure that the money that is raised and goes towards this actually goes towards these enhancements and the support of these patients throughout that troubled journey. And 90% of the money that actually comes in for this goes into that, which is huge for a nonprofit, especially with such an ambitious goal to accomplish. And the fight is continuous. Although we've came a really long way, it's still a very big impact on children as well as other individuals contracting these cancers and going through that journey, sometimes alone, but also sometimes with a family of support that still needs further support. So we're continuing to push for this advocacy until we find that cure and we find that solution and we make the world that we actually want to live in. Now, the Man and the Woman of the Year is a philanthropic competition. The goal of it is to have individuals in the community bring different components of the community together to have that impact and to find that impact within the community, as well as individuals who want to be a part of that. Advocacy for this can never end. We need to continue to improve the way that we tell this story and get more people to understand, because the only difference between someone else having cancer and ourselves is just the day. It could happen to any of us. So being in front of this and having individuals who are strong and healthy, who continue to fight and have that advocacy, is what this Man and Woman of the Year is based on. And it is a 10-week challenge that goes from April until June. And what the goal within that 10-week challenge is to continue to build a team and bring together individuals who want to make this difference, whether or not they're directly impacted or indirectly impacted. It's a cause that we can all stand behind and agree that this needs to go to the end. We need to push this until we find that treatment and we find that advancement that allows less toxic treatment, both financially as well as from a physical and physiological perspective. Now, at the end of this campaign, all of these individuals within West Michigan are going to come together for the final night, in which we look at how much we actually raised. And although it's not necessarily directly about the amount of money that's raised, it is an opportunity for members of the community, teammates, candidates to reflect on the impact that they can have in a way that speaks to all of us as humans, competition. And with that, I was very fortunate to be nominated this past year to represent this organization for West Michigan and campaign. And so I've been tasked with bringing together this team. Now, with that, it's very helpful and it's hurtful as well, but to understand that they have a boy and the girl of the year. And these are patients who have went through this treatment, who are fighters. And I have to honestly say, reading through the different stories and learning a little bit about what this actually does to your body and the physical, emotional, and mental tasks and the journey that you have to fight through is absolutely incredible that these children can continue to fight. And that in itself inspires me to hopefully make that impact and prevent this from happening to others and continue to find that improvement. Because again, we try to put a man on Mars now, we still have problems and issues that we need to work on here at home. Now, the goal and the mission of this team that we're assembling now is to continue to spread that awareness and have reach. And we've got some pretty good reach so far going into this. Northern Michigan, we have an incredible individual up there who is going to be advocating on our behalf, as well as down south in Carmel, Indiana, which kind of runs the border of our campaigning territory, but it is not limited to this area. It's simply for the convenience of events and keeping people involved. But I really hope to have that awareness and that impact stem out through the very means of technology we have now, social media, as well as word of mouth. We want to raise a lot of money. Honestly, we want to be able to financially support these patients and their families as they go through this. And we want to continue to push that way this research does not stop, that it continues. In the past 40 years, there have been 4 cancer treatments for pediatric patients, only 4. So we need to continue to advocate because there's a lot that needs to be done. And we are very capable of it as the human race. Lastly, with this, I want you and anybody who's involved with this to grow from any different means, whether it's growing outside of your comfort zone, growing in your abilities, growing in the understanding of what you're capable of. We really want to have that impact beyond just what we're doing here, raising money, but showing you and lighting that fire within you to show that you can make a difference and you can have impact is another major goal of our team's campaign. We want to have that engagement. We want to flip people from not knowing about the impact that cancer has on them and full well understanding at least what struggles are occurring out there. Because if you're aware of it, you can speak on it and you can spread awareness about it. And that's really what this is, to get as many people aware and saying, hey, I understand that's a terrible thing. I'm aware of it, though, that it's occurring right now. I'm going to do what I can to spread the word on this, if it's even through conversation and word of mouth. It's not always about money that really drives the impact here that we're looking for. I hope within this and within our team, we can find some very creative ways by putting together different members of the community and different communities that maybe have not interacted before, but finding solutions to some of these problems. And when I say solutions, that's unique ways to fundraise. We want to find different innovative ways. Some of these projects, they're tech projects that combine the 3D printing community as well as the electronics community and the Raspberry Pi community. And they put together a product essentially that we will then be able to raise money through. And that's in the form of some of the events that we have going, as well as some online events and the auction that's on at the end of this in the final night of fundraising. And, I want your heads to grow with this, maybe not as big as this individual right here, but I want you to grow and understand what kind of impact you can have and how you can lead where you're at. And again, it's not always about giving financially. It is about using your voice and your circle of influence to grow your circle of influence to have that maximum impact. Believe it or not, if you refer to yourself as someone who kind of keeps himself, you still have people in your circle who are probably unaware of what this cause is, what LLS is, how bad some of these blood cancers actually are on the body, and how taxing they can be. And spreading that awareness, even in your circle, is still making an impact. And it's like the old pyramid scheme. It goes and it goes, and it's like a domino effect. So continuing to understand your own capabilities and grow those capabilities is what another core pillar of what the mission of our team here is. It's to raise that awareness and to raise the awareness within ourselves. Now, when we are talking about ways that we can receive this money, there are a variety of different ways, and we'll cover a couple of those this evening. But jumping into this, it's as simple as the personal ask, like mentioned previously, having a conversation with someone and just bluntly asking, can you contribute to this cause? Now, we cannot begin the actual collection of money until April when the kickoff occurs. However, we can start having these conversations and planting the seeds and trying to incorporate different members of our own audience, people who listen to what we have to say, and make them understand exactly what we are fighting for, or what the, again, repercussions for having one of these diseases is, one of these cancers. So having that conversation and bluntly asking is a very big means. We can also do that in more traditional routes, which are letter campaigns as well as email campaigns. We've got a ton of content and tools that you can utilize to ask this in a way that's very, again, educational and provides value to that person, so they learn something out of this, and hopefully they'll continue to contribute and be that cascading effect. Are you able to help out and contribute to this? And if nothing else, you leave them with an understanding of what this cause is, so the next time around they're at least aware, and you've done your job there. But anything beyond that is extremely helpful for contributing to this cause, but hopefully, again, leading to the end of blood cancer and finding treatments that go, start to finish very quickly and have minimum effect on the family, as well as the economy, as well as the individual. And I think that's the world that we all deserve to be in. So going beyond the personal asks, there are also opportunities for sponsorships from corporations, from businesses, all over. It does not hurt to ask. If you feel you've got a connection within a company that could potentially get to that higher level to make the ask, it does not hurt to have the conversations. I personally have had some experiences now where I've been within my workplace or I've been out and about, and I take off, I literally say this, it sounds corny, take off my professional Trident hat, which is the company I'm with right now, and put on my personal life hat and ask, do you guys ever do anything like this? Have you ever donated to something like this? What does that look like? You play kind of silly and you let them tell you about it. And that kind of leads to that process of, oh, really? Well, who would I talk to about something like that? And it's actually easier than you would imagine to start to have those conversations. And at the end of the day, worst case scenario, you get a no. That's okay. They at least know a little bit more about your mission. You got one more practice rep in of spitting that pitch, as well as you are reassuring in your own mind that you understand exactly what that mission's about. So really, there's no loss here. It only gets better as you go. It's a win-win-win. Additionally, we can be very strategic and smart about how we do this fundraising, because oftentimes if an individual is willing to donate within a company, their company may have a matching program as well. And so if their matching program cap is at $100, if you convince a member of that company to give $100, oftentimes the company will match that as well. And you've doubled the amount raised right then and there. Another way is employees are often able to donate a certain portion of their time to a cause. So that's another way you can incorporate individuals into this process by finding out, does your company have that? And we have a really nice tool that I know Chris could tell us about later on that allows us to go through, do I know somebody at Amway? I do know somebody at Amway. What is their matching program? Type it in. Then you can find out exactly what they can offer, if they offer anything, and use that as well. If you know 15 people there, there you go. Let's try and explore that. So that's another way that we can strategically go after this and try and get our biggest bang for our buck here, because at the end of this, it's raising money, not just for this campaign, but to truly have an impact on what we're here for, which is combating cancer and trying to find a way to no longer have that be an issue on our plate as humans. Going beyond that, we have a ton of events that we are very hopeful to pull off within this campaign, within this 10 weeks, really. A lot of it pulls from a variety of different places within my life. And some of these events, they're going to look wonky right now, but I tell you, they will be a heck of a lot of fun when we pull them off. It's going to take some creativity. And as you can see off to the right here, the different components of putting an event together, it's very daunting to think of an event as, oh, we're going to put on an event. At least it is for me. I get a little overwhelmed thinking about an event and coordinating all of that. But when you really start to think about breaking it off into little chunks and accountability, that's where all of us bring in the different backgrounds and the skill sets. And an open dialogue about that really enables us to strategically put these things together and pull them off. And it's pretty crazy when you get going exactly how many different people you know within a city or a region, as well as someone who does this. When we talk about the 50s telethon, that's an exciting concept for me, working with the Comedy Project often, because they've got a lot of entertainers of different skill sets, and pulling something like that together, offering it in a virtual and a in-person venue, in my opinion, is going to be very successful at bringing in attention and awareness about what this cause is, but as well as hopefully a heck of a good time for everybody who's able to attend that. Going beyond that, and I'll work through these because I believe a later event or a later meeting we'll go through in more depth and try and find where we can match up people with ideas, but as well as people that resources and so on and so forth. We also are trying to have a trivia night. Again, I mentioned The Office is my favorite sitcom. I believe there's a huge demographic that would be interested doing, especially in Grand Rapids, using past trivia bar crawls that they've had for The Office, gauging it off of the interest that was had with that, but also having a virtual component, opening it up to an online. And that's really going to be chased by another little sneaky fun project that I have somebody on this call working on, that's essentially designing a giveaway item that is Office themed, but incorporates a ton of different skill sets. And he's really been able to stretch his capabilities by both coordinating a team of individuals to work on that, and I'm sure he could tell you this, he's also spending a fair amount of his own time really trying to get the proof of concept down. And then that's going to be a huge component of a raffle that we have in the future to bring additional money in. The internet really is our friend here. Trying to move through, again, some of the other areas and people that I've came across in my life and collected. You all are part of that collection, thank you. For example, the Poker Run, which if you're not familiar, that's a motorcycle venue in which you get a ton of awesome individuals, very dedicated individuals within the Harley community as well as the bike community, contributing to something that both they enjoy, which I was told by a very skilled female rider on this call, that bikers like anything that they can tie a cause to. And especially when we tie this LLS and our campaign personally to take on this childhood cancer, you're really going to see, I think, a lot of jolly bikers, I think is the adjective I'd like to say for them. Additionally, we've got the 5K run, in which we have a member in our network who is a post-Olympic runner who is graciously going to take on the challenge of starting the very last at the Grand Rapids Riverbank 5K. And previous to that, we're going around to different businesses within the Holland community and receiving pledges as to, I will give $1 for every person that she passes. Little do they know, we're able to do the math on that and find out that this Olympic qualifier essentially is probably going to pass around 800 people. So if they say $1 because they're feeling rowdy, it's going to be fun that day when she passes 800 people and we're able to go around and collect all of those, all for this good cause again, as well as spread awareness through that. Putting that out there in the news is an excellent way to, again, further our message. And sometimes you got to get non-conventional about that, especially if you want to stand out in today's day and age. Second to lastly, Toastmasters has been a huge component of my life. Understanding public speaking is all about getting out there and just speaking and speaking over and over and failing a few times. learning along the way that, that articulation, that comfort of talking in front of people, it doesn't come with studying the skill set of public speaking. It comes with repetition and getting out there and doing that. And so that's something I'd like to roll out through a little bit of a partnership with Toastmasters to have a local event that could be potentially hybrid, online and in person, but an event that allows some Toastmasters who are really passionate about this public speaking to give the tips, tricks, and life hacks about public speaking in a digestible, Sunday morning course in which you're going to get something out of, placing a small donation. You're going to get a ton of skills and practice that can benefit you not only in spreading this cause or awareness about this cause, but also spreading awareness about your own cause. Or if you want to just get better at job interviews because you get clammy when you walk in, that is another way that we're going to benefit you as well as benefit a good cause. So that pairing is another example of ways that you can use that cooperation and that symbiotic relationship to advance the cause and exponentially have it make a difference, right? And lastly on this list, again, this tentative list, our great buddy down in Carmel, Indiana is going to coordinate a excellent bourbon silent auction in which he is going to perform dance-wise, I believe, while this bourbon auction is going on. I don't know if he's actually going to be doing the dancing. He doesn't have his camera on, so I can't see him shaking his head no, but nonetheless, he's utilizing his role where he works as well as his skill set to put something on like that really is going to have a huge impact. We might have to make a trip down and carpool down to Indiana to get our bourbon on, as well as watch Michael dance. So these are just some of the ideas of what we're tossing around right now and coming to fruition. We are looking for additional ideas, clever ways to do that. If there's ways that you can contribute to this and make this happen just based off of what we've talked on now, we're going to have another meeting and get a little bit deeper into the details and find out who actually can contribute what. With all of these events that we're talking about now, it's very exciting, and the real way to capitalize after reviewing the past history of how they've done some of these events and what's worked best, because again, we want to get the biggest bang for our buck. We all have very busy lives, so we're going to do this as efficiently as we can. We were able to look through and find that events that have these prizes, I mean, everybody likes a prize, right? You like a swag bag, that bag that comes with stuff, even if it's a pencil and a sticker, you're still kind of like, sweet, I got something out of this, I'm excited. Well, that concept exists within this realm as well. But additionally, when we have these events and we want to have a door prize or a 50-50 drawing prize, then within those, we want to have very nice prize packages. And although we could stop at a dinner for two being the prize, we found that it's best and it's the most strategic route to couple those together and really try and create an experience that somebody would be winning. Additionally, at the grand finale, there are 10 auction items that we're able to put up on the table. And we'll hear a little bit more about grand finale in a second, but there's 10 auction items that we're able to have live for auction, both in person, but also on an online venue. And what that's going to do is be one last ditch effort for us to raise additional auction, cold hard cash, essentially, for our cause and for our team to continue to push us up there. So really, we want to have prizes that stick out. And I think this is where creativity can come into this as well. Finding different routes to get this donated, this donated, this donated. You really start to form packages that people are mouth-watering over for. Another example of this is, coordination and talking. One of my contacts previously had worked for the zoo, doing the marketing for the zoo. And so one of the ideas that we've talked about, and I pitched the idea to this gentleman, he was very receptive to it. But one of the ideas we talked about is dinner with penguins. To me, it doesn't sound that appetizing, but with a family, it's probably a very cool environment to be able to share some tater tots with a couple of penguins or two. That's something that he was into and open to having, and it's an experience, right? So a day at the zoo behind the scenes and seeing all that. But the actual value of that, if you break it down, it's not as much as you would imagine, but when you put it up and match it together, this gift baskets go hard. So that's that same concept. So that's another thing to be thinking about. Are there different ways we could combine this? And then additionally, are there different things that we could get donated? If it doesn't go on the auction, still donations are great as event bags. If you go to one of our events and we're able to provide a bag, it puts that person in that mood to continue to be giving. And it's a psychology piece that really we lean into when we're talking about nonprofit giving and trying to find the best ways to raise money. So you've heard enough about gift packages and you want me to shut up, and I will. So we'll move on to timelines then. Right now, obviously we are here, we are at today. So welcome to today. Thank you for coming. What we need to do between today and our kickoff time, which is April 7th, is we can start planting seeds. You can't collect money for this cause until April 7th, but you can start planting the seeds. And what that looks like is having a conversation with a person within your circle. Hey, I'm not able to collect until April 7th for this cause. And this is after you've already filled them in and they're on the same page with what the mission is. But, I'm not able to collect until then, but hey, when that time comes, can I count on you for a $30 donation? Just having that little conversation ahead of time really plants a seed, and it builds that sense of giving that person's going to feel when they actually do contribute farther down the line. And it makes it a little bit easier when you get to that April 7th to have that lukewarm introduction. Within this period as well, you're able to brainstorm and start making connections out there, asking if they've ever donated anything like this, if they ever contributed in any way. And what I've heard from interviewing past candidates is wherever you go, when you're on this team, wherever you go should be an opportunity for you to ask, hey, have you ever done anything for a cause before? Have you ever donated for a cause before? Do you guys ever have giveaways that you provide donations for a cause? And we'll make sure that you have a consolidated sheet as well as some sort of tangible proof so you can say, no, this is the cause that I'm a part of. And you speak with that confidence, and you'll be surprised with the turnaround and the actual participation you'll see from these businesses who are eager to give. They're just not approached by people. So that's another thing that we can do within this window before it's actually time to go live and start collecting. Because once we get into April 7th, this is 10 weeks of fun. It's going to be 10 weeks of fun. We'll have a lot of events that we're planning. We're going to have a lot of things going. There'll be a lot of dialogue going back and forth. And we're going to continue to hype it up along the way, because really what we are here and we're pushing. We want this orange line representing awareness to start occurring today, start telling people about this today. And that can go well beyond the date of kickoff or the date of the actual grand finale into the future, because again, this is not solved until we can find out the best way to tackle some of these pediatric cancer cases and treatments that need improvement. On April 7th, on our actual launch date, you're able to start raising that money. So we're going to start raising the money and try and get to our goal, which is a lofty goal, but it is a very realistic goal when you break it down. So don't get freaked out when we slide to the next slide. But what we want to do is make it to the GF, and it's not gluten-free. It's the grand finale. That's right. That's not corny at all. We, on the grand finale, are going to reflect and find out exactly how much money we raised, and we hope it's close to our goal. And now if we jump over to our actual goal, we've set the bar pretty high, and it's at $69,000 for a reason. And that is because my mentor who had brought me up within this had raised $68,000. So we naturally have to go up 1,000 and beat her, because it's a pride thing at this point. But no, it obviously is for a good cause. I would like to go well beyond this $69,000. I'm told that we have to set a goal though, and I understand why we do that. But $69,000 is a lot. We could find one person to give us $69,000, which if somebody knows anybody, please let me know, because that would be awesome. And it would be a really simple campaign. But if you start breaking things down and actually looking at it, it becomes it becomes a lot easier, right? We could have 100 people donating $690. That would obviously work out math-wise, because I did the math beforehand. Or we could have 1,300 people within our circle, which I know our network is probably very large when we start combining it and ballooning out into the different areas, as well as all the great people you're going to meet along the way who want to hear a little bit about this. For $50, we're able to meet that goal. So it's not as intimidating as it sounds, because it sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, but when you break it down, it's very reasonable chunks, and we have a long period of time, which is why it's all the more important to start planting these little seeds within your network and having direct conversations with people and putting together some pretty cool events that attract a lot of attention as well. But as we talked about earlier, a lot of our donations are actually coming from that personal donation, that personal ask, because it's that human component of having that dialogue, that conversation. I'm talking to you, I'm sharing with you my beliefs and thoughts on this. I hope you're listening, because there's some stuff we have to do about this. And that's where the awareness around some of these sad statistics are important, because looking back, it fires me up to know that, in the past 40 years, we've had 4 treatments for pediatric oncology. Like 4 treatments within that time have been developed. And that's kind of unacceptable when we look relative to everything else. We have electric vehicles, autonomous vehicles. Your toaster can Bluetooth to your phone, which is necessary apparently. But, advancement wise, we need to have advancement with these actual issues that plague so many people within the country. I mean, on this call, we've been on here for 40 minutes now. And what was it? Every 3 minutes, someone's actually diagnosed with this. So if you can imagine the strings of chaos that are going on within those individuals' lives right now, you can really appreciate, because when it's you, or if it ever becomes you, and I hope that it doesn't, anyone on this call becomes an affliction to you within your circle or within yourself, I hope then that you're thankful for your time with spreading this message, because when you're going through something like that, it's a heck of a lot harder to be passionate and be pushing for this. We're standing here as, individuals who have our health and our abilities to be able to hop onto a call with leisure like this on a Thursday and have this much fun. Imagine on those times, if you were afflicted by this and you're affected and directly impacted by that, it's very challenging to get the energy to jump up here and fight your own fight, let alone fight a much larger fight, which is why they need healthy bystanders like us who are ready to contribute and ready to be smart about how we do this. Because after all, it's not just giving money that makes the difference here. It's that awareness and getting other people to give money, more or less, is the way to look at it. All right. We want to make it to the grand finale. I'm telling you, the grand finale is like Kanye West mixed with Beyonce and every other celebrity ever. Apparently, it's a very high on the hog event. We are going to be at Frederick Meyer Gardens. And when you're at this event, you essentially are walking down a red carpet. Am I correct, Chris? There is a red carpet. I don't think that I'll have the opportunity to walk down a red carpet at any point. I would like to hope that I do make it that far, but it's nice to have a backup plan. And this is my backup plan. So my goal is to walk down this red carpet at the grand finale. I want to have every individual on this call, every individual in my life on this call, ideally at that event as well, to be able to look out as a team and stand there and know that we did this, and then have our total be higher than what we had anticipated, is absolutely what gets me out of bed in the morning and gives me those goosebumps. So I hope you can make it to this event with us and spend that time with us at the end of this 10 weeks of fundraising. I know you can. I know it's all within your capabilities to do what you have to do to get to this place. And I'm going to give it back to Chris for a second. If you want to go over, Chris, some of the things that you have to actually do if you want to be a part of this event. I will mute myself for a second. I'll let you.
Okay, the question I have for you, Lonnie, is if Michael has to dance while he is serving the bourbon, do you have to dance down the red carpet? I guess that's a yes. I'm hearing
just
yes.
Mike. Just yes.
Mike. All right. Well, I put in the chat. Y'all can see why we are certain that Lonnie's going to be Man of the Year. I think he's coming after my job. He is just selling this like I want to join his team. So I told you at the beginning of this, you are in the right place. You are with the right candidate. He is fired up. I'm excited every day that I get to work with him. So what we do, but we also want to highlight all of you because it is a team effort. And that's one thing that, we have talked about many times in our meetings is, he wants us to be about a team, not just about him. And it's going to take work from all of you. We have different incentives to kind of keep you motivated as team members. The 25,000 or 25,000 would be great. We could get there really quick. There's the $2,500 club. Anybody who on the team who raises $2,500 will automatically get an invitation to the grand finale. How will you know if you raise $2,500? Good question. Here's the answer. Each one of you is going to, if you decide to join the team, which if you're here, I suspect you probably already have decided, you will get your own fundraising page. So what we'll do is when you are contacting your individuals, friends, family, neighbors, and asking them to donate to this great cause, they will be able to go right to your page as a team member and donate. And that's how we track all of the funds for each individual team member. And then that money funnels up to Lonnie as the ultimate candidate. But each one of you will kind of have your own means to get people to donate. So sometimes it feels better, you know, if you're going to friends and family, they don't necessarily know Lonnie, but they know you and they care about you and they trust you. So they will get behind you and who also knows Lonnie and supports him. So that's the nice thing about this is it gives everybody the feeling that they are really truly contributing equally on a team. Now, if you really go big and you want to, you raise $5,000, you'll get an additional invitation to the grand finale. You can bring a date to escort you down that red carpet. You also will get a special recognition at the grand finale. And there's a few other items, 5K pin, also a big one, recognition in the Tribute Journal. We send out a digital Tribute Journal that will include your name as well as the business name where you work. Lonnie, do you want to let somebody in? I think somebody, okay. The other thing is throughout the campaign, we will have different challenges. You know, not that any of you are going to be necessarily in this for an Amazon gift card, but you might be in it for like just the bragging rights of you won this competition. We're going to create different competitions throughout this event, the 10 weeks to kind of just motivate you, to allow for a little trash talking. And it's just kind of a way to have fun with all of this because, you know, 10 weeks, it may seem like right now it's a short period of time, but when you're in it and you are, you know, you're 6-7 weeks in, you kind of start getting burned out. We're going to try to make it as fun as possible for you all. The other thing that start stepping up to Lonnie now, Lonnie will have the opportunity to nominate one team member of the year, which they will get recognized at the grand finale as well. So make sure you start sucking up to them now.
Additionally, at the grand finale, Michael will be giving back rubs. This news to me as well. He sent me a private chat. So if he doesn't say no, then it's on. Okay. Well, he didn't say anything.
I think that could be one of your auction items. On-site massages. I like where this is going. It's those experiences that really pull in the most amount of money.
All right. Well, we'll put that on the docket then. I don't hear any complaints. If this sounds like a pyramid scheme to some extent, it is that very much so, because what we're trying to do is grow the awareness around this. And what better reason to do that than with an actual good cause and not a maleficent cause and raise negativity. We're raising positivity here by incorporating people. I do want to say as well that if you put everything you have into this and you do want to be a part of this, I want you at that. I want you at that final event. And there are certain ways that we can make that happen depending how you contribute to that. We're able to kind of adjust things slightly, which means that if you contribute and you put your part in and you volunteer for these events and you do what you can to make this work, we're going to make sure that we get you to that grand finale and make sure we have one heck of a shindig at Meyer Frederick Gardens. It will be a lot of fun, I promise. I haven't been, but the things that I've heard are, it's like Vegas in that what happens at grand finale stays at grand finale because there's that much fun happening. And I probably can't say that, so I'm going to stop talking about it now, given Chris's eyes. But that's where we're at right now. So crock pots.
I'm just thinking if there's back rubs, we definitely can't bring that what happens at the grand finale stays at the grand finale, because I mean, Michael's dancing, back rubs for sure.
Michael can get out of hand a little bit there. So actually we'll reconsider this. We definitely have a panel that we're going to talk to before this just to make sure that it's okay. And I'm sure there'll be something and he has to sign. Anyway, enough on Michael if he's still on the call even. But crock pot, what are we going to toss in the crock pot and start thinking about following this call and after I'm done talking. I hope that my words bleed into your dreams, which sounds messed up now that I say it, but I do hope that you do give this some thought and that you are interested in being a part of this and start thinking about that. You know, if whether you want to be directly a part of this and contribute more of your time as well as your context, I hope if anything, it's an open dialogue and you're able to point resources and point us in the right directions. And I hope that you're in our corner and rooting for us along the way. If I've made anybody very upset, I'm sorry, but I do hope y'all are at least in my corner on this and you're going to get your circles in my corner as well. But I'm talking about corners too many times. Personal asks, start thinking about those, start thinking, do I know anybody in business XYZ Acme Incorporated that I could talk to or that I could make an introduction to for Lonnie to talk to. Lonnie Jr. actually will have questions in a second here. Event ideas, if you have any ideas, any ideas that you feel would be great for this, any contributions to really jack up an event, anything like that, again, just be thinking about it, jot it down. And I'm going to send out an email link that essentially lets you get access, lets you shoot an email or a message or fill out a form, anything like that to get the message over to myself or Sarah Flowers, who is on this call, who is my campaign manager, who is going to help me articulate this big thing and orchestrate it and keep it going. Additionally, if you can think of any ways that we can involve the community, if you've got contacts at a school and you want to get the kids involved in this, that's another great avenue to take. If you've got a business and you want to have Gene Week or Gene Day on Friday, and in order to do that, people have to donate $1 to this cause. You know, that's another way to bring in money, and that each idea like that certainly helps. If you want to convince somebody to shave their head, not me, you can raise money by doing that. You should pick on those principals as administrators, put the idea in the kids' head at the school and let them take it up to upper management. You can really empower a bunch of kids and make a principal feel chilly at night without a beanie. Or you can think of ways that you can contribute to this beyond tonight's conversation. And again, I'm reiterating things intentionally on purpose, and that's not at all who I am. I don't talk in circles ever. I'm usually very articulate and to the point, but I want to make sure that the point is made that this is for a good cause. I really believe in this. If it sounds like it's a pitch, it is a pitch, because I want you on my team and I want you to help me contribute to this. And I hope that we can, see the end of this, hopefully push for some more advancements that lead to the end of blood cancer, but also have a good time, learn something about ourselves and work together on that. And if we're looking forward at things that we need to know about, there is an excellent campaign training workshop that is coming up on March 10th, and that's a virtual event. There's really, again, no obligation. You can learn a lot about how to raise throughout this and what this campaign's about. And again, more fun facts and more methods to actually raising that money. We have our kickoff April 7th. That's coming up. We talked about that. Before that, we're planting seeds so that we can sow those seeds on April 7th. May 10th, halfway point. It's good to pat yourself on the back and have a good time along the way. Again, we're going to find out if that's virtual or in person. And then the grand finale, where I hope everybody can walk on the red carpet for the first time, at least. If you haven't been already, you can still do it later in life, but this is a good thing to check off the bucket list. And again, we're going to have a lot of fun here. And in closing notes, seeds, plant those seeds. So, okay, it's pronounced so. That's what I said. It's S-E-W, so. But growth is uncomfortable because we've never been here before. That's a quote I bring up every single time at our weekly Toastmaster meetings. It is true. If you want to grow and you want to be a better person and become a more robust person and get more out of life, it's by making yourself slightly uncomfortable and exploring situations you haven't been in before. Because waking up the next day after doing that, it feels like you climbed a mountain. It could be something small, but again, take little steps each day to be uncomfortable. And I want you to get something out of this campaign as well. It is all about awareness around LLS, but if there's secondhand benefits coming from you learning something about yourself or learning what you're capable of, that's what I'm here for. And that's what I'm excited about as well. So we probably have a few minutes, or we can officially end the meeting now at 8 o'clock, which we are on time. Look at us, punctual. But if we have any questions, or if you have any questions, again, we'll send out another email and you can respond right to that. I'll include my information and Sarah's personal cell phone. So text her whenever, any hour of the night is fine. Chris as well, I'll give you that contact and we'll make sure we get things rolling. So again, thank you everybody for hopping on.
I want to jump in. I want to say one of the things that sometimes if you're not a professional fundraiser and this isn't something that's normal for you, going out and asking friends and family, something to always keep in mind is you may not always get the dollar or get the check from them, but when you go to your neighbors and ask that, Lonnie, you're part of this team with LLS, and that answer may be no, but you never know. In a year from now or 5 years from now, they may be faced with the challenge of cancer in their family, and then they're going to think back. Wait, my neighbor Tim was somebody who was he mentioned something. He was part of this organization, and then they can come back to you. That's the ambassador type of feeling that you kind of come away from this. So it just kind of makes it feel better when you're asking friends and family for funds. It's not all about the funds. It is totally about spreading the mission, brand awareness, so that when somebody is faced with these life challenges, they know to come to you so that you can steer them in the direction of LLS so that we can get them the resources that they need. So that kind of softens it a little bit, hopefully, of when you get the ask, because there's going to be a lot of no's, but that doesn't mean that it's a no. They're not going to need you in some way in the future.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody, for hopping on. I mean, I'm going to stick on for a few minutes here if anybody wants to shoot a message over. Otherwise, be very active through the email and hope to continue this, keep things going. Please don't be a stranger. I will, shoot me a text. I want to have dialogues about this. This is certainly my life for the next 10 weeks plus however many weeks until kickoff right now. 6 weeks, 16 weeks, this will be my life. So please, this is what I like talking about. Let's have chats on it. Don't be a stranger. But at this time, I think we'll officially adjourn the meeting. But if anybody has any questions they want to ask, please let them fire.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yep. Sorry for raising my hand prematurely. It sounded like you were winding down, but so part of my question was answered with the website for monetary donations. But when we're talking about going to companies looking for, gifts or donations, things like that, is there anything or any credentials or any kind of documentation that we could use? Say, look, I'm officially part of this thing. It's not like they're going to be giving it to a website. They might be handing you the actual item. So it doesn't look like you're just somebody out trying to get things. That's basically along those lines is what I was wondering.
Yeah, that is a great question. The one thing I can tell you is we have resources upon resources upon resources. So if there is, we certainly have all of the sponsorship materials at your disposal. To go to an organization, a company, a business, a person, we have the resources to provide you. If it's a sponsorship of, we'll say 1,000 or more, we're going to actually, LLS staff are going to sit down and create an entire pitch that we will present to that organization. But, and we're going to sit right alongside of you and Lonnie to make that so that it does feel official. When somebody's writing a check for $5,000, yes, you're right. They want to make sure that they're just not, you're not just going door to door asking for money. And then as far as like a letter, if you were to go out and seek small donations of gift items, things like that, that we do have a template in a resource folder that all team members will have access to. You can customize it to your ask and print that off, take it right with you. The thing that we have to keep in mind is when you are going for gifts like auction items that you might use for your events, it gets a little sticky as far as what is tax deductible and what is not. But we'll work through that with you as when that time comes. So yes, but to answer your question, yes, we will provide you with the resources and whatever you need to make that person feel good about who they're donating to. Are there any other questions? That was a great question.
This is your last chance to ask throughout this campaign.
That is not true. I will be here as a resource. Even if Lonnie doesn't respond to emails, I do. So I will be available for you, any of you, at any time throughout this campaign. Was that a low blow, Lonnie?
A little bit.
But thankfully we have Sarah. She answers.
All right. Well, thank you again. I'm just shooting Rudolph a message to see if you counted my ums and ohs, which is a Toastmaster thing. But thank you, everybody, for jumping on and being part of this. If there are no other questions, I think we can get everybody back to your Thursday evening and start brainstorming and whiteboarding some ideas. I'm sure that's what's going to happen. Perfect. All right. Well, this has been fun. We should do this more often, everybody. And we can. We've got plenty of opportunities now. So,
Lonnie, have you decided when the next meeting will be?
we are looking ahead and brainstorming ideas for the next date. It'll
Okay.
likely be another Thursday evening. Yes, I'm told my campaign manager says it'll likely be another Thursday, but make sure we get the word out and make sure that it doesn't go into your spam folders this time as well, and get everybody here and ready to roll.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all. It was so nice to meet you all, and I hope to be working with you through Lonnie's campaign.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.